What's up, guys? You're listening to the Race Colorado podcast with me, John Walco. Today, we're going to be talking about Christmas must-have gifts. Um, Obviously, we're a few days from Christmas, so it's a little short notice. I apologize for it. I've just been a lot of busy with work and everything. Obviously, I haven't done podcasting since I think probably October, which I apologize. But obviously, because you got the COVID pandemic and then you got the winter coming in, not really a whole lot of racing. So we're just I'll try and go over some gifts. And if you're still within those few days, then I guess this will probably help you out. So first gift I was going to suggest is one of my friends, Chris Lennon. He's a Pikes Peak hill climb racer. He has an electric Porsche, which was built in, mainly built in California at a electric motorcycle kind of place. Has a lot of like scientists or engineers that work on it, which is really cool. I talked to him about it in a past podcast. If you want to look through the Race Colorado podcast, you can find it under Chris Lennon. We talked, I think, for probably like almost 2 hours or something like that. But it's really cool. Here's the book here. It's called The Peak of Racing. He sat down with Bobby Unser and did a lot of talked about the hill climb and his life. And in fact, here's a picture of Chris right there. Yeah. And then just has a really lot of cool pictures in here, like this one from another Colorado photographer, Dave Little, who's also really talented. And then we got Bobby Unser, of course, right there. It also features a lot of photos from history because I believe he went through the library archives to kind of get through all these old pictures that you probably can't find, everywhere. Probably the museum would probably be the best place to find it. But it has a lot of great history, talks, walks you through every single turn, has racer stories, racer quotes, a lot of really cool stuff. Like you have like here where it just kind of walks you down through the turns. Like turn 41, right? Racers get some time to set up for this turn. Should be accelerating all the way up the hill toward it. It's not much more than a glorified kink, and it shouldn't impact speed as one heads down the next turn. It's just really cool. One of my favorite quotes, I can't remember it exactly, but it's from Bobby Unser. He says, if you go off on bottomless pit, you'll starve before you hit the bottom, which I thought was kind of pretty cool. So yeah, it's a really cool book. Has a lot of really cool pictures. If you like to hill climb, that's really cool. And I mean, it walks you turn by turn as if, you had like almost an instruction manual how to do the hill climb. Chris Lennon is also Colorado local guy. He lives up in Monument, Colorado. Really nice guy to talk to. If you want to find this book, you can go to peakofracing.com, which I'll down below on the ticker. I'll have basically a summary of all the gifts I'm talking about here. That way, so that you know exactly what we're talking about today. For those that are looking at the live stream. Moving on, another book is Optimum Drive by Paul Gerard. It's he's another Colorado guy. Can't remember exactly the town he's from, but it's about north of me, probably 2 hours from. I was able to visit at his house. We had a podcast in the past. If you search for Paul Gerard, it was awesome talking to him. I think he was the longest, probably like almost like 3 hours or something, but he was really cool to talk to. He was friends with Tanner Faust, did the Pikes Peak Hill climb. He's also the Top Gear USA, the Stig, raced Cody Loveland's MV car. If some of you Pikes Peak Hill climb fans remember that. So this book is Optimum Drive, the roadmap to driving greatness, and it's not just a driving instructor kind of book, because that's one of the things he was saying, like even on the Smoking Tire podcast and stuff, is that there's a lot of driving instructor books. Like you got Ross Bentley and Speed Secrets, and then he's got books and his podcast, Speed Secrets. And it's not just that, it's also kind of trying to find yourself, trying to pull out the greatness in yourself. Kind of like building up your confidence. He's almost like a driving instructor plus counselor, kind of like a racing counselor, I guess you could call him. Really good book. There's like a foreword from Tanner Faust, one of his friends, of course. I could probably just read you a little bit of that. As a racer and a biology major, I find Paul's physiological and psychosomatic perspective of the driver strangely refreshing. When driving at the limit, it's easy to feel that virtually all of the instincts we have capitalized on to become the most successful species in our planet's history do exactly nothing for us on a racetrack. That's from Tanner Faust's foreword. I can also read you an excerpt from Paul Gerard himself, which I believe is the first page here, where he says, "Greatness has many shapes and forms. It is elusive and rare, yet it exists everywhere if you know how and where to look. It is achieved in all walks of life when an individual does something at such a level that it becomes transcendent and becomes art." It's still a really good book. I mean, if you're just looking for a driving instructor, it has that kind of language in there too as you go more into the book, but it kind of sets you up more to kind of bring out your greatness of your character first, and then kind of gets into the racing thing. But just another great book. If you want to find this book, it's located at theoptimumdrive.com. Really another great book. Another person I'd like to do a shout out for is Jessica Lynn from blackfoxmedia.net. She does a lot of shirts customized, like with cars, like Evos or whatever you want to put on there, different colors, drawings that she's done. She also does a lot of photography, private, photo shoots. Mainly, she does a really great job with that. I mean, if she does, like, if you just need photography or shirts or gear, I think she's also looking to do sweatpants, I believe she told me to. Just a lot of really cool gear. And if you need photos of your car, she also does that too. Calendars. Obviously, there's a lot of photographers that we have quite in the area, and they all do calendars. One such one is Greenfield Visuals, Matthew Greenfield. He has a calendar. If you contact him, I think he said he had 4 or 5 left, but he can also get some more if there's a lot of interest. So if you contact him on Facebook, look for Matthew Greenfield or Greenfield Visuals, you'll be sure to find him, and he can try and get you some calendars. Another one I would suggest as far as calendars would be my friend Josh Spencer at Street Center View. They do mainly a lot of the Colorado Drift live streams, which I'm sure you've seen. He's quite the personality. I've even interviewed him on a past podcast. Matthew of Greenfield, I've interviewed him on a podcast. Really great guy. Has Streets in Review, which is kind of like Race Colorado, kind of Colorado car community. He also talks about the 4G 63 NASCAR from Mr. DeVore, who's really nice. That's a really nice project. So he's been keeping up on that. Next would be, of course, I do the Colorado Cars and Coffee podcast with Steve Clark, Terry, Matt Hayden, Dan, all those guys. Obviously, I do that a lot. If you haven't heard that podcast, I would highly suggest that. We mainly talk about Colorado events, some mainly car and news, and some local event news, and then Mainly that's what we talk about, and then a lot of F1. And then we just do a lot of discussion. They have a calendar too. You can go to www.zazzle.com. That's www.zazzle.com. And if you search for Colorado Cars and Coffee community calendar, that will pop up, and has a lot of great photos from a lot of local photographers who put a lot of hard work into them. You can tell. Us administrators got to vote on a whole bunch of them, and it's a really great looking calendar. So definitely make sure to get that. One of my other friends, Trevor Reef, who also I did a podcast with. Most of these people I did podcasts with. He has a calendar too, of course. You can just contact him directly on Facebook. It's Trevor Reef. Last name is spelled Reiff. If you just search for him on Facebook and message him, he'll get you a calendar too. So obviously there's a lot of people doing calendars, and I think Jessica Lynn was even considering maybe doing calendar, but she can always do like on a special interest basis doing that too. And yeah, she's very talented there. I think the last person I want to talk about is Krista Olson from KO Custom Stitching. She does a lot of custom stitching, lives up in Denver. She was even featured in our local newspaper, the Gazette, in Colorado Springs. She does mainly stitching, and she got covered in there in an article, and she makes like little hats for the shift knobs to kind of like keep them warm, which I'm sure some people have dealt with. They have like the cold shift knobs, and yeah, so you know what that's all about. So she makes like little car shifter hats, and she can be found at KO Custom Stitching. I believe she has a website. You can just go check her out, and maybe in the article will pop up too. So yeah, that's basically the brunt of it. I also wanted to take this moment to kind of talk. Some people probably know, people probably don't. We're up to about 1,000 likes, I think, a little bit over. It's a photography group on Facebook called Colorado Automotive Photography. And basically it's a lot of people, photographers, mainly in the area. Obviously, we have some people that might frequent here or visiting or whatever. They might be coming from other places, but mainly it's Colorado photographers, clients, people that are interested in getting into photography or looking to get photos of their car or businesses or whatever. They mainly join this group, and they can get tips. They can advertise what they do, try to get opinions. It's a really friendly, well, we try to make it a really friendly group. Try to keep the critiques, straight, not to keep them mean or anything. Keep them informal. It's a pretty great group. If you want to get on the group, go ahead and join, and we'd love to have you eventually. Hopefully when COVID gets out of here and we get closer to summer, we're hoping to plan some more meets where we hang out with photographers, attend races, set up basically classes at the track or at locations where we can teach people photography and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a really cool group. It's if you'd like to join it, just go ahead and join it. Speaking of events, another one I'd like to talk about is, obviously we still have a little bit of COVID coming on, but we're also heading into the new year. Grid Life, I think, was around August, I want to say, this year. They had to push it back because of COVID and all the restrictions, everything. Next year, Grid Life is planning for July 23rd to the 25th at PPRR. And so far, that's the date they've set. Really cool event. I have a couple photographer friends that didn't go this year, or even the first year, which was last year. And that changed their mind, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta go." So, I mean, it's a really cool event. You should definitely go. I mean, I think, well, last year they had concerts and stuff. This year they didn't because obviously COVID. But I mean, it was still a great time. You got to sit down with the racers like Von Gittin. I did a podcast with him and those guys. Um, it was really cool, and you just get to see drift cars, get right up against cars. Basically, you can see all the drifting, which is certainly a crowd bringer, especially with the color drift guys. If you ever gone to those events, it's really amazing. So Grid Life is certainly one of those must go to events. So I highly just you go to one of those events. Next event is, of course, the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. They're planning on a June 27th race day. But if you're a photographer and you're planning to shoot at that event, I would suggest get a website set up, show your work, and look forward to contacting them to try and get a media pass, because when you're shooting that event, you have like, I think 3 or 4 practice days before the actual race day. All those opportunities to shoot without no crowds or anything. Obviously, you have to get up there at like about 3 a.m. in the morning, but it's a really cool event. I mean, to shoot, to watch, whatever, it's a really cool event. We'll see if crowds are allowed to any of these events, but it'd be really cool. These are just the top 2 events. Obviously, there's a lot others. There's the PPIR Time Attack. Colorado Drift has a lot of events. Just a lot of really cool events in this area. As you know, Colorado's kind of becoming a lot of racing and cars capital of the world. Almost not to that level, but it's doing a lot of great things. If you want to stay on track with anything we do at Race Colorado, or basically any car culture, car events, best ways are social media. If you follow the hashtag Race Colorado, or even if you use the hashtag Race Colorado, a lot of times we might see your kind of stuff and we might even repost it. Can't guarantee, but trying to check it as often as we can. So we might feature that, especially here on the podcast. Some ways that you can check us out is our Facebook, of course. And we have a Twitter and we have Instagram, which you can find. Just type in Race Colorado and basically it'll point you to the right direction. You have the right direction when you see this right here, Race Colorado license plate kind of thing. If you see that, you're in the right place. Haven't thought of changing the logo recently, but I kind of like it, so we've been kind of sticking with that, so it should be there for a while. If you want to check out like any stories or stuff, I've been trying to keep up with the website, try to do the photography, keep the stories, all that, up at www.racecolorado.net. That's where you're going to find the majority of it. Obviously, there's social media. You can go on all that, and I try to post on there. And if you have a story or a photo to share, just send it our way, or even an event, send it our way, and we'll try and look at it. Obviously, Race Color is not my main job. This is kind of like a second job in a way. I have another job that's takes a lot of time, but I try and keep up with it the best I can. But yeah, if you guys have anything else to say, if you have anything in the comments right now on the live stream, doesn't look like we have anything right now. I appreciate, all your support, everybody that's been listening, everybody that goes to Colorado Cars and Coffee podcast that's listening. And, we're just trying to keep the community informed and keep you entertained and all that. So I'm just going to try and keep up with Race Colorado, just keep on going, keep on going on the podcast and all that. That's about it for today. Make sure to check us out on the website, and I'll see you out on the road. Bye, everybody.